Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to transform your passion into your career. Okay, as you can see, I made a mess last night. I got a lot of creativity all at once, hit me like a truck, and I just couldn't stop drawing, painting. I kind of went at it. I had a little moment. So I started 5 paintings last night, which is a lot for me. These 2 behind me, those are oil paintings. They're gonna need a little more time, a little more patience. What I wanna do today, I have these 3 panels, okay? But what I wanna show you guys is this. These are all for my upcoming little gallery show, right? So I have 1, I think you guys saw me do that one. This one you've never seen before, 2, and 3. I felt like I wanted 3 more and then they'll sit nice on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the plan. So we'll see how this goes. I do need to spray them with some Fixatif. So let's do that. Okay, hi guys. So let me put you on something. If you don't know what Workable Fixatif is, it's really good. It keeps your pencil and graphite it prevents it from smudging if you're gonna paint over it. But an important thing to remember is that this shit is toxic, and if you breathe it in, you're gonna die young. We don't want that. I gotta shake it. I'm also gonna do this for a little extra protection. Okay. I just don't wanna die. Woo! Happy spring! Gosh guys, I ended up smudging the freaking drawing. Not cool. In other news, I wanted to share my breakfast with you guys. Look how good this fruit bowl looks. I saw this video of this guy who said he only eats fruit until noon. It makes him feel good and it gives him energy, and I was like, that's kind of an interesting idea. So it's 11:50 right now, so it's fruit time. I think we were just about ready to get started. I just gotta change this shirt and we will be all set. Hello and welcome to stage 1 of today's painting process, which is base coats. I like to start all of my paintings with flat acrylic washes just to get rid of all of my white space and have some fun with some crazy colors. I'm using orange to start. This is no shock. We love orange here. This is the orange place. But I like that brushstrokey texture, and I like building on top of something that is a little bit rough. When it's smooth the whole way, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just a little too perfect and not having enough fun. So as you can see, this is a really unique way to work for me. I've never worked on more than one piece at one time, like back to back to back like this. So it's really kind of an interesting process using the same exact colors and constantly flipping around your panels and seeing what colors go where. It feels like this crazy epic rushed paint by number, and it's a lot of fun. Honestly, I don't think it ended up being much of a challenge. I genuinely really enjoyed the process. One thing I was not expecting when starting this little challenge was discovering how efficient this way to work actually is. I know a lot of you will agree with me when I say when I work on one particular piece for too long, I can get really in my head about it. And when I take a break from that piece, whether it's a couple hours or even days, I'll always come back to it with super fresh eyes and just a totally different perspective. So when I worked on these 3 pieces at a time, I was constantly changing them out, and what I was seeing was almost always changing, and it kind of felt like I was looking at these pieces with fresh eyes the whole time, which helped to keep things loose and enjoyable, and definitely something I want to do more often. Alright, as we head in onto our third color here, this nice green, I figured I would mention the supplies I'm using because I know you guys are always wondering, but it is the same as always. Today I'm using LUKAS brand Acrylics, which is just a really great student grade option for all of you beginners or intermediates out there. Gets the job done for me. They're not too expensive and they're a lot of fun to use. I've never had an issue with them. As for my surfaces, these are all wood panels, 9x12. I picked them up at Michael's. They were pretty cheap. No more than $10, I don't think, for a pack of 4, so that's kind of a steal. After just a couple coats of gesso, they are phenomenal. And then when it comes to brushes, I'm not too picky. Probably something I should splurge on a little bit more, but I don't like to break the bank, so it's a mix between some hand-me-downs and then some Mimik Kolinsk Creative Mark, Best brushes, and yeah, honestly, not sure. Just trying to keep it affordable. The next thing that might be worth talking about is how I'm choosing the colors for these types of pieces. And since I am using reference photos for these images, I kind of like to look at all three and find some cohesive, dominant, kind of like standout statement colors. So in this case, it was this green and the red, of course, and later on yellow also kind of joins the party. And then in order to unite or harmonize my statement colors, I choose to either push them in a warm or a cool direction. In this case, it was super warm, and that just gives it a nice cohesive feeling. And then the last step is just to find some supporting colors that are less dominant and less in your face to just bring everything together. I almost forgot, but the other thing I want to say is thank you. I am still going through these mishmash, messy, cluttered spaces that you guys DM'd me pictures of a long time ago. They're still a great source of inspiration for me. So if you are somebody who sent me a photo a while ago, I want to say thanks. That's where these 3 images come from, and the 3 that you saw earlier in the video come from, and it's just a lot of fun, and it makes me not feel so bad about my messes, which is kind of great. And here we go with that yellow I mentioned earlier. I think this color was super important in bringing things together, and I'm really happy with the way things started to look after I finished these little shapes. So yeah, I think we're off to a good start. And finally, the last color I have to throw down is this kind of creamy off-white. If I could give you one painting tip, it is to avoid white at all costs until the very end of your image. As an observer, it is super important to note that white almost never exists in nature. So when we're painting, we want to save that white color for the very, very end. That way, if we do have a sort of white highlight that we want to pop, it's going to be a lot stronger and be able to grab your attention much more if there's no other competing whites in your image. So I'm at that stage in the painting process where I've finally eliminated all of my white space, and yeah, it's been really interesting so far. I've never worked like this, so it's an interesting approach, kind of shifting around my different panels and putting color down pretty quickly all at once. And I'm really enjoying watching how the placement of these colors and the compositions and the dominance of color really changes the mood of these pieces and the relationships, and that's something that I really enjoy watching, how one color palette can be used so differently. So I'm enjoying that part of the process, but I think it is time to throw down some texture, some detail, and really render these paintings to completion. I want to be playful with it because my sketching style was very loose and playful, and then my base coat layer was very tight and neat. So I think loosening up a little bit in some areas will help me achieve something that remains playful, but let's just go for it. Okay, so when it comes to rendering an acrylic painting, I think my biggest advice would be to color block, and color block from dark to light. So I like to lay out my darkest areas in the largest shapes and then slowly break up those shapes with smaller values. So you can see the way I did that with these dark grays and then some mid-tone grays, and then those little white highlights I put right in the corners of the eyes and in the fur. With this method, you kind of want to avoid blending and instead think of your painting as something you're carving, almost more like a sculpture. For me, this sort of painting style, especially what you're seeing in the details in that cloth and like things like the paw print on the cat, it's really heavily inspired by old Disney films, more specifically the Sleeping Beauty movie. It is really amazing to watch how these artists create landscapes, more specifically like the trees and the bushes and everything. I think there's a couple videos on YouTube. I will link them in the description because they're super inspiring. The way that they slowly layer up from something that is really geometric and straightforward to something that is super complex. So definitely check that out. It'll be in the description. I think another great hack for a simple rendering style is to contrast what you're focusing on in your details. So when I started this image, it was all about shape and color. And as you could just see, what I did on the door was much more focused on line, especially in what you're seeing again in this purse right here. So when you have these two very different principles right on top of or next to each other, it really helps to break up your image and give a lot of detail in a really simple way. I've got to say, I think this is the most satisfying part of the entire process, these really intentional brush strokes that are just carving everything out and giving it just this new life. So I'm just going to let the music run. It's super satisfying. Just enjoy the process, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay guys, we are so close to the end here. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me as I paint. Let's go check out the final shots of these paintings and see how it all turned out. Alright guys, I think that is going to wrap up our painting process for today. I had a blast working on these 3 paintings and I'm pretty psyched about the way that they all turned out. There's a real rhythm to them and they're all kind of uniquely different because of the compositions and the color and the cat. Like, there's just a lot of fun stuff going on. So I'm happy that I did it. I'm happy they're done and I'm happy to have shared it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed the whole process. But just before we go, I would love to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. By now, you guys know how much I love Squarespace. They are the all-in-one platform to build a website and online store. I could go on and on about how much I love my online store when it comes to easy customization and Squarespace's analytics. But today I want to put you guys on the portfolio and gallery features because, as we know, that is the most important part of your site as an artist looking for clients and opportunities. Your portfolio page has to stand out. I think one of my favorite parts of the Squarespace experience is just how quick and easy it is to keep your work updated. As soon as I finish a new painting like this, all I gotta do is get a scan of my image, go to my Squarespace editor page, and simply pop in my images where they need to go. And that's literally it. And if there's any hiccups with my image along the way, I can always edit my photos within Squarespace, which is so easy. And I never have to worry about my website getting outdated because I can do all of this in under 5 minutes. So if you're an artist going out into the industry, especially going solo like me, Squarespace is gonna be your best friend because we do not have all the time in the world. We got more important things to do. So if that excites you, go to squarespace.com and you can start your free trial today. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Sorgy and you will get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you again, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. I love you guys. And yes, so I think we've officially wrapped up this day, this time together. As always, so happy to have you here. It is a blessing. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Keep drawing, keep creating, go at it. I hope this inspired you in some way to use some crazy colors and just have fun, because that's how I feel right now. So yes, I have a Lego set to build, so I will see you guys very soon. Bye!